G'day guys, it's bennymacca here, back for part 2 of the liverpool015 hand wrist review. Luke has got a decent stack here in a $2 rebuy, although he just lost a little bit of a pot with a double barrel that didn't work, so we'll just continue on from here. 10-2's fold, 5-7, king 7, ace 3 in the big blind. Gets limped to us. We've seen that candid 57 has limped quite a lot, and you've ISO'd him a couple of times, which is really good. Given that we just lost a big pot, I don't mind just checking here. Just seeing what he does after he checks back here. I think I'm stabbing turn a lot. Yeah, I don't mind checking back either. I mean, we haven't invested much at all in this pot, and we'll lose the fours, but like whatever. He's probably never folding that anyway because he's limped so much. But yeah, I mean, you could ISO. You've ISO'd worse before with the king deuce hand. You are out of position, and I think he's got to be flatting a whole bunch. But I mean, I think the reason you didn't was because you just lost that big pot beforehand, which I think is fine. I don't think sometimes you can get a bit spewy just going, keeping on pounding. So I kind of like just, playing that one, not investing much and just trying to have a value hand, I guess, next time. So we'll continue on. I think this 6-8 off here, I think you can probably nearly limp. Just complete here, given that we've got a DBL well in the big blind, and he's got a huge stack as well. So I think you can play for the implied odds against the big blind rather than the under the gun limper, or under gun one limper. So I don't actually mind just completing here and trying to see a flop. What happened there? Says he folds the big blind. Wow. I wonder if that's just the hand history review, the replayer stuffing up or what. I don't know. 9-7 is an open, and it's not a bad board for our hand, so we c-bet. What's Trent like? I don't think we've seen him before, have we? So we'll just grab up our stats here. Trent is a 23-6, so he's pretty tight, passive, I guess. Cold calls in position with ace-7, defends the small blind, limps with. So he looks like he's pretty passive in general. Probably means that we can barrel a little bit here, given that he's a tighter passive player. Well, I don't really mind checking back here either, just for the fact that if he has diamonds, he's probably not folding. If he has like 7s, he's not folding. So actually, yeah, I'll probably just like checking back, which is fine. And that ace is probably not a bad card to bet on the river, just for the fact that we have a lot more aces in our range, obviously, and given that he's a passive player, he could probably put us on an ace. And if he's got something like 7s now, there's 2 overcards, so I think he might fold a little bit more often. So we bet, and we bet quite big, which I kind of like, and he folds. So I actually like the way you played that hand. Just thinking about it a bit more, I really don't like barreling the turn. So just for the fact that he will call with those, so I think checking back is fine, and just hoping to bank your 8, obviously. But that ace is a pretty good card for us to bluff, so I think that was fine. Queen Jack is an open. It's a pretty horrible board for us, and we get a little donk lead, which donk leads pretty much on a board like this always means spades. Or like a 6. But most of the time that's like a Broadway spade. We'll see if I was correct or not. Wow, no, he just jams. That's almost certainly the king of spades from a fish. I'd love... Wow. Nope. You flopped it. My reads were completely wrong. Always fun. And he won a huge pot. So I wonder why he bet really small on the flop and then just decided to bomb the turn. It doesn't make any sense at all. But, I mean, this is a 2 rebuy, so you're going to get people doing that. It just shows that you don't really need to try and double barrel like we did earlier. I mean, you just wait for them to spaz out. I mean, he obviously had a nice hand then, but still, it's just so weird. King Jack suited is an open, and we take it down. Uh, 10 Jack of hearts under the gun. Given that we've got so many fish on our table that are liable to flat you from behind, and we're only down to, well, we've got 50 bigs, so I don't necessarily mind it, but it's very close to the bottom of my opening range. I might fold it, I think. How you going? Sorry about that. So we've got 10 Jack here on a King 3-6, and we're playing 3-handed now. Makes it kind of hard to see bet here because I doubt it gets through very often, and I think given that we're always getting flatted from behind, it's probably a reason for not opening quite as light from under the gun. We see bet and take it down. So I think it's if we open, we definitely have to see bet, but I probably don't open this light. Yeah, given that we're still 60 plus, well 50, was that 54 big blinds deep, I don't actually mind defending here with the 10-7. Probably if we were only 40 big blinds deep, I'd probably just fold, but we are still pretty deep, so I don't mind defending, to be honest, because what are the odds? We're getting 4.6 to 1, so I don't mind it. It's not a bad flop for our hand. I'd be check peeling, which we do. The turn is an 8, which is, it's not bad for our hand, but it's kind of inconsequential really, because I don't think he has a huge amount of 8s in his under the gun raising range. So I think he has more broadways and pairs. Given that he's a fish as well, he's a 47-9 as I said before, so I think it's weighted a lot to broadways. So we check and he bets really quite large on the flop, and now he's betting small on the turn. It's really, to be honest, it doesn't really look like it reps much. I mean, if he had aces here, I don't know why he would bet small again. I think he would bet 6 or 7 or 8, maybe up even to 10k when he's going for value. So I kind of like just peeling here, which we do, and that's a pretty nice card for us. And I really think leading here is the best option on the river, just for the fact that if he has if he has like 10s, I think he calls. If he has 9s, I think he calls. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have an 8. He's going to tell us if he has an 8 because he's going to be shoving on the river. But I think we can get value out of some of those hands. We may even get value out of ace high here. We kind of put him on some of those weaker broadways on the turn. So I wonder what he has here. Yeah, so he had ace queen. So I think he probably even calls a bet on the river here. Yeah, I think we can bet like 8k, and I think he calls with ace high. Three eights fold. Ten deuces a fold. 4-5. 2-4. 5-2, queen 4, shove, flat, flat. This is a fun tourney. Even though we're getting 8.5 to 1, it's 2-3 off, so we can't call. This would be a pretty sick spot if we had something like 5-6 though, because, or 5-6 spades, because these guys are both really deep, and it'd be awesome just to smash a flop and win like 150k or something. Intriguing to see what they have here. So he's flatting with ace-7 and he just flats with 7s. Shover with jack-9. This is really fun. Just fold. I like your fold with 6-3 off. They just flat too much out of the blinds to make this. I don't think your steel's getting through that often, so I think it's fine. Five, 7. Don't mind opening it here. Maybe a little too early a position. I mean, if you were cut off, I'd probably open this every time. But from mid position, I think it's probably fine to fold still, given that we have a decent stack. So once again, this is a problem. We get flatters all the time, and now we've got a squeezer, so we just have to fold. Ace king, get flattered again. Beautiful flop for our hand, and we c-bet, and we get raised. Now, this raise can be one of two things really: a worse king or a set. I mean, king 8 is probably there, given that he just flattered twice. He's pretty much flatting everything, so it could be there. But my guess is, like, there's no draws to speak of. So I at this stage would be flatting this, because a lot of fish like this flop a king, raise to see where they're at. So if you shove on them, they might even, or not shove, but if you 3-bet this, they might fold. I think a lot of the time, if you just flat, they'll think their king's good. So I really just like flatting here. We go ahead and 3-bet, and he folds. See, this raise fold here, I really think is probably a worse king a lot of the time. It could be something like 10s, just trying to, as I said, see where they're at, because that's kind of a fish mindset. So a lot of the time, this raise, I think, folds out a lot of the hands you beat. I don't think he stacks off with king queen here, even though, because it's just so deep. Maybe king queen he does, but if he has, say, king 9, I really don't think he calls this bet ever. So I really think you're basically folding out the hands that we want to get value from, and you're going to get crushed by sets of 8s and deuces. So I really just like flatting his raise, and probably check calling again on the turn, or at least just evaluating, see what side of sizing he has and things like that. Anyway, we win quite a nice pot. Pick up 5s next hand, and we're opening that again, which is fine. We get flattered out of the small blind. Pretty sure we have to c-bet any ace high flop, which I'm not really sure why we didn't this time. Yeah, I think our under the gun range contains a whole bunch of aces, so I think we have to rep them. And he checks. See, once here, I'm not really sure why. If you're checking back the flop, then you go and bet the turn. I think with 5s now, he's checked twice, so I kind of like just trying to get a showdown now if we've got F5. So I would have liked betting on the flop, and then if called, just shut down. I don't really like betting on the turn, to be honest. Because now he calls, his calling range here, he's probably got weak aces. 8s, 7s, 10s are all there. Probably even something like, king queen is probably still there, which is a hand we beat. There's probably not many other ones though. And we check back on the river, and he has an 8. So Yeah, to be honest, though, with an 8 here, I doubt our C-bet would actually get through on the flop. But as soon as we check back here, we pretty much never have an ace anymore. So even if he's I don't know what sort of player this guy is, but if he's a thinking player, I don't think he ever folds an 8 on this board. So, yeah. I think I just C-bet. Back in a sec. Sorry about that. I thought my dog was wrecking up the joint, but turns out it was all sweet. So we got 5-8 here in the big blind, and we just fold to that shove. Jack 3 is nowhere near good enough to be completing, so that's fine. 3-8's fold. Taj has limped under the gun again. So we definitely know he's not doing that with good hands, but 3-4 is probably not good enough. Jack 7 after a limp is a fold. 8-3 is fold. Ace-4 suited, don't mind the open. We have some pretty deep stacks behind us, so we're going to have to play out of position a little bit, but we don't really have many stacks that are going to jam out of us except out of the big blind, so I think we can still open here. We get 3-bet now. I think this is a fold just for the fact that we're going to have to play out of position against another deep stack, which is going to suck for us. But we go ahead and call. Yeah, I really don't like calling just for the fact that we're probably going to have to flop a flush draw here to continue. Even if we flop an ace, it's going to really make life hard for us. So we check and it checks through, which is interesting. Now that we pick up the 4, I'm just definitely trying to get to showdown and hope he has ace king. And he does. Wow. Not really sure why he didn't put a bet in at this stage, because we would have been folding. 3-2's a fold. 7-5. King 2. And it limps to us, and we... Oh, and we flop. Well, I don't really mind leading here. I mean, we're getting value out of draws, we're getting value out of kings, jacks. We're all going to call if we lead here, so kind of like it. And we bet the turn again, and river, we might be able to make it maybe 8k, but I think 12k is still okay. Oh. I mean, queen 10 did get there. I think that's just a call. I don't really think we could do much about that. Two threes a fold. 6-2's a fold. King 4. Queen 5. King 7. 9, 10. You see we're down to, what, under 30 bigs now, so we definitely can't be opening as light as what we were before. King 9 is, I think, completing is fine here. We know he's a complete fish. It's costing us 1k. You know, we're getting 7 to 1. These guys are still, you know, relatively deep. What's that? 15 big blinds or 20 big blinds. I mean, I'm pretty happy getting it in if we flop a king against these guys now, so I think just completing there is fine. It's not really the best flop for us, and I think we're just going to check fold, which is good. King 5 open is not too bad, given that these guys aren't 3-betting on you. If these guys were aggressive, they've both got good shove stacks, in which case I would fold King 5 a lot more, but I don't mind opening it here. after this donk, it's just, our life sucks, and we just have to side fold, I think. Really don't like a raise here because he's never folding a club. I don't think he folds a 10 here with his stack. So unless we're just putting him on a random club, which still has 12 outs against our 5, I just really don't like this. I think this is a bit spewy, to be honest, because he's always doing that, and he's always, even if he just has a random queen of clubs, he might still do this, and we might be ahead. But it really, really sucks. I think we just have to fold on that flop. I think this is, I really don't like that, to be honest. Now we pick up ace king. What are we down to now? We're down to 17 big blinds with ace king. These guys are not 3-betting ever. So given that, I'm definitely just open shoving with my ace king, and I might even open shove up to say 25 big blinds to be honest, because just for the fact that if they flat, which they're always going to do, it becomes really tough for us to play, because there's now 5 big blinds in the middle and we've only got 16 behind, and it becomes really tough for us to c-bet and not have to be committed just about. So I think I'm just open shoving here, and we raise and we get flats as we thought we would, and see now we've got 30k here and 13 in the middle. So if we make our 5k c-bet, it now becomes 25 in the middle and 26 in the pot, like 26 in the pot and 25 in the stack. So we're going to have to, unless you c-bet planning to jam any turn, we kind of have to give up now, which really sucks. So that's kind of why I like jamming pre. See, now we flat, and now we've got 25k. So what do? I think we have to kind of shove here. Because if we check give up, we're just putting so much in our stack, and he just rolls a stupid 9. And now we're in real trouble because we're down to 12 big blinds. So that 5 big blinds we just put in there for a raise and a c-bet basically cost us 25% of our stack. So I think I'm definitely just shipping it in pre. This is interesting to see what Nash says here. I might actually just pause this and I'll be back with a second. Okay, I'm back. What I just did then was punch this hand into a spreadsheet I found on 2+2 called the push spot spreadsheet. It's pretty easy to find. If you just Google push spot, the thread will come up straight away and it'll be in there. Here's what it looks like. What it does is on the left it just has a hand graph, but on the right here is where we put in all the information. So you can see we put in hero's effective stack, you put in the calling, what percentage you reckon they're going to call your shove with. You can obviously change that, but at the moment we've just left it at 11%, which is 5 plus ace 8 suited plus king queen, king 10, king queen suited, ace 10 and king queen off. We can obviously change that, and we've got 4 players left, and put in the amount of people at the table. And what this does is it calculates what range we should be showing. So you can see here that green means that it's 15. If we want greater than a 15% ROI, then it's a shove. Yellow means it's a chip EV shove, and red means it's minus EV. So as you can see, chip EV is pretty much anything is a shove, and 10-8 suited comes under that. But this is kind of goes into what moves like Darwin's latest article was, where he's talking about the difference between chip EV and tournament EV. This is kind of a good example where just about everything is plus chip EV, but if we want to have some sort of decent ROI, then it becomes a much, much tighter shoving range. So according to this, like 8s plus and ace queen plus. Now I think that's probably a little bit too tight. I think ace jack and a few other ones are definitely worth shoving as well. Now what we can do is experiment with this and change the hands to a little bit of a tighter calling range. As you can see, the tighter you get, the more plus EV it becomes to shove everything. But then there's less hands that do really good against that range because of the fact that you're going to be crushed when you're called. Top 27%, they're never calling that wide, but I think this is pretty clearly shows that 10-8 suited is a plus EV shove, but whether we think it's good enough to be shoving confidently given our edge on the field, I'm not quite certain of that, so I think I probably fold here. So we shove and it gets through, and that's awesome because we just picked up an extra 6k to our stack. 5 6 10 3 10 7 8 6 ace 8. This kind of would have been a good spot to 3-bet shove because Giga Jammer I think is pretty active. I'm just going to check his stats again. What hand are we on? 147. So we can see Giga Jammer is a 16-13 after 38 hands, so maybe he wasn't quite as active as I thought. So I think ace 8 is probably a fold there anyway. So I think I was wrong in my initial assumption, but obviously we're folding now that we get that rejam. 2 is a fold. 10-6. See, this would be interesting. I'll just pause it again and I'll put this hand into the into push spot and just see what it says here. Going back, you can see I've changed the put our effective stack in, put players left act 2. You can see on the left here that it becomes pretty much plus EV to shove anything, and I mean even say deuce 4 off is 5.3. I'm not exactly sure what that number means, but it's not that much different to say king jack, which is 5.4. So this is kind of even. It's pretty much a shove with any two here. We can change the calling range. If we make it a little bit wider, it doesn't really change much. If we make it, say, broadways plus aces, you can see that some hands become minus EV, and 10-6 off would then fall into the minus EV category if they're calling as wide as broadways plus aces. But if they're calling only top 20%, which is that's kind of still pretty wide. I think shoving here is fine. Four deuce off is a fold, and now we get eights, which is obviously going in. And we get called off by queen 9, and he gets there. well, that's pretty frustrating. So that's the end. I think Luke finished about 60th or something in this tournament. So this was mostly early and mid-stage type stuff. I think in general you play pretty well. I think sometimes you just need to think about, especially early in a rebuy period, I wouldn't be 3-betting light at all. And then later, I think you just need to pick your spots a little bit better to, and just make sure your lines make sense post-flop, because I think a couple of them really didn't. But overall, I think you played okay. I think you just need to tighten up a few little things, and I think you'll start making. I think that there was that one hand on a 3 flush board where the fish donked into you and then you raised. I think that was really the only really big mistake that you made in this tournament, because I think that's the one that meant you went from having an okay stack of say 25-30 bigs to back down to under 20, and then it becomes push fold under 20, and then you're kind of up against it. So I think that was the main mistake you made. And I think in general, once you have sort of 25 to 30 bigs, you really have to try hard to not drop down to 20, because that's when you lose all your edge. So I would be opening a lot less, and from say early position, and I'd just be focusing on stealing and things like that, and I would be opening less from early position, and then there's the other hand with the when you had 17 bigs with ace king, and there was some 2 fish in the big line who you knew they were going to flat the whole time, and it just becomes really awkward. So I'd just be shoving a little bit bigger stack. I'd even be, as I said before, I'd even be shoving say 25 bigs. I mean, it sounds like ridiculous overshove, but if it means that they're still going to be flatting ace, calling you off with ace queen, which they are, and it means you're not in a position where they flat and you have to c-bet and you have to put in a huge portion of your stack when you don't hit anything. So hopefully that was helpful. If anyone disagrees with anything I said, just let me know. And thanks Luke for giving me the hand history, and hopefully everyone enjoyed it. This is Benny Macca. Thanks guys. See ya.